In public, every move you make is a declaration of who holds the power, you or someone else. Yet most people sabotage themselves, not in war, but in silence, in everyday moments. Today, you will learn what Machiavelli warned: 9 fatal mistakes you must never make in public. If you wish to be respected, feared, and never humiliated again. Man is not judged in the quiet of solitude, but in the chaos of the crowd. In the eyes of others, you are either a spectacle of strength or a cautionary tale. And if you do not control the theater of your public image, someone else will write about your tragedy. I am Niccolò Machiavelli, and today I shall show you not what to do, but what you must never do if you wish to rule your world like a prince and not perish like a fool. Number 1. Never reveal your emotions. Never reveal your emotions. Not in public, not when eyes are watching, not even when your world is quietly collapsing beneath your feet. In the court of power, emotion is not admired, it is dissected. Every flicker of the eye, every tremble in the voice, every sigh, every flinch, it is noted, interpreted, weaponized. The man who exposes his feelings before the crowd believes he is being authentic. But authenticity is not a strength, it is a gamble. Understand this: public spaces are not safe spaces, they are coliseums, and you are either the beast or the bleeding man in chains. When you cry in public, they do not see pain, they see opportunity. When you rage, they do not hear injustice, they hear instability. When you panic, they do not offer help, they smell blood in the water. Emotion shown carelessly makes you predictable, and the predictable man is already defeated. This world does not reward raw honesty, it rewards strategy. Those who command their expression command their image. The stoic, the composed, the unreadable. He becomes a mystery, and mystery is power. What's more dangerous, a man you can read like a book, or one whose pages are sealed tight? Let the weak believe that crying makes them brave. Let the knave think that public breakdowns invite sympathy. You must be the opposite. Smile when you are furious. Speak gently when you are under attack. Numb your face when your heart screams. To the crowd, show no cracks, no clues, no softness. Because when you show the world your heart, the world will not protect it. It will play with it. Number 2. Never argue loudly in public. Never argue loudly in public. The moment your voice rises above reason, you've already surrendered power. Men often believe that dominance lies in volume, that if they shout louder, they win. But those who shout in the streets, in the halls, in front of peers or strangers, expose themselves as emotionally undisciplined. And discipline is the root of all control. The loud man is trying to convince the world. The powerful man has no need. Arguing in public reveals too much. It shows where your pride lies, where your insecurities lie, where your patience ends. In those heated moments, you hand over a blueprint of your weaknesses. The public watches not your point, but your reaction. They remember not your argument, but your lack of composure. Think like a prince. Would a ruler scream before the mob? Would he explain himself to those beneath him? No, because he understands one thing: silence can crush louder than words. When 2 men argue in public, both appear foolish, but the one who remains calm, measured, poised, becomes untouchable. He draws the crowd not through noise, but through mystery. His silence dares others to question what he knows, what he plots, what he withholds. And that is far more terrifying than any shouted word. Even worse, loud arguments make you a spectacle. You become the story people tell, the mockery that spreads, the man who lost control. Your enemies don't need to strike. You expose yourself for them. You become predictable. Predictable in your anger, predictable in your triggers, predictable in your pride. Control is not proven in domination of others, but in domination of yourself. And the man who needs to raise his voice in front of others has already lowered his status in front of all. Number 4. Never display desperation. Never display desperation. Not in your walk, not in your speech, not even in your silence. Desperation is a stench, subtle to the desperate man himself, but overpowering to everyone around him. It seeps through every gesture, every request, every attempt to impress. And once it's detected, the crowd's perception shifts instantly. You are no longer a man to respect. You are a man to use. When you ask too eagerly, people say no, not because they can't say yes, but because your need strips you of value. In politics, in courtship, in negotiation, the man who appears desperate is seen as someone who lacks options, lacks leverage, lacks worth. The hungry man is not fed. He is examined, studied, and eventually discarded. Publicly, you must behave as if nothing is missing, as if no opportunity, no person, no outcome is essential to your survival. Because the moment people sense you need something, they begin to manipulate you, and you begin to shrink. A prince may be at war, his coffers empty, his allies fleeing, but his face remains unreadable, his posture tall, his tone calm. This illusion is not vanity, it is a strategy, because when the world believes you are fine, they treat you accordingly, but show even a flicker of desperation, and they turn you into prey. Number 4. Never over-compliment or flatter. Never over-compliment or flatter. In the theater of public life, the flatterer is never admired, only tolerated, and always suspected. Men think that kind words win favor. They believe that if they praise enough, smile enough, bow enough, doors will open. But power is not seduced by servitude. It is repelled by it.
The one who flatters too much, too easily, too publicly, signals weakness, and weakness once shown is not forgiven. When you praise someone too often, it begins to reek not of admiration, but of strategy. People begin to sense the performance behind your words. They wonder, what does he want from me? And once your intentions are questioned, your reputation is diminished. Not only are you seen as insincere, you are seen as a player, a manipulator, someone who uses praise like a bribe. Even worse, when you overcompliment someone publicly, you place yourself beneath them. You raise them higher while lowering your own standing in the eyes of the room. This may seem harmless, but in the game of hierarchy, even a small bow is remembered. The wise man knows how to compliment with precision. A single carefully chosen praise delivered at the right time can forge an alliance. But endless admiration, it dilutes your value. It makes your words cheap. It tells the world that you are seeking approval, and the man who seeks approval has already forfeited his authority. Flattery should be like a dagger sheathed in velvet, soft to the touch, but always strategic. Never offer more than what is necessary. Never reveal that you are trying to win someone over. And above all, never let your admiration look like submission. Because in the public arena, They do not remember who praised the king, only who walked beside him as an equal. Number 5, never criticize someone openly. Never criticize someone openly. Not in public, not where the crowd listens, not where the insult echoes longer than your presence. To publicly criticize another is to declare war without preparation. It feels righteous in the moment, bold, sharp, decisive, but the crowd does not forget the spectacle, and neither does your target. The man you humiliate before others may smile, he may nod, he may even agree, but inside, something has shifted. You have planted a seed, the seed of vengeance. Every public insult, every jab, every correction made under the gaze of others bruises not only ego, it wounds pride. And pride is the most dangerous thing to provoke because it does not heal, it plots. A man who loses face in front of many will seek to restore it, not through reason, but through retaliation. He will wait, he will gather, he will strike where your guard is down. Worse still, you invite the judgment of the audience. They ask themselves, who will he turn on next? Even if you were right, your method is questioned. Your character is analyzed. You've made an enemy, yes, but you've also made everyone else uneasy. And unease turns to distrust. The true strategist does not waste power on public attacks. He critiques in private. He plants doubt subtly. He lets others arrive at the judgment themselves, while his hands remain clean. Silence is sharper than rebuke. Distance is colder than insult. And manipulation is far more enduring than confrontation. Public criticism is loud, temporary dominance, but real power is quiet, calculated, and invisible. So if you must destroy a rival, do not announce it. Let them unravel on their own, while you nod politely, sip your wine, and remain above the fray. Number 6, never try to be the funniest. Never try to be the funniest in the room. The fool may entertain the court, but he never sits on the throne. There is a dangerous seduction in making others laugh, a moment of charm, a flicker of attention, a rush of acceptance. But what feels like connection is often corrosion. The more they laugh at your jokes, the less seriously they take your presence. You become familiar, predictable, harmless. And in the court of power, harmless is worthless. Humor, when forced, becomes self-sabotage. The man who needs to be liked, who constantly seeks to amuse, trades his dignity for the sound of clapping hands. They may laugh, but they are laughing at you, not with respect, not with fear, with entertainment. And the entertainer is disposable. The funniest man becomes the jester, not the general, not the king, not the one they follow in silence. He is remembered, yes, but not respected. And in public, respect is the only currency that cannot be faked. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not interpret laughter as loyalty. People remember who made them feel powerful, not who made them laugh while feeling superior. The prince does not lower himself to seek laughter. He chooses silence, observation, presence. And when he does speak, every word carries weight, not comedy. Even worse, humor reveals too much. In every joke is a trace of truth. In every punchline, a window into your thinking. The more you speak to amuse, the more you reveal your mind, your insecurities, your blind spots. And the wrong listener will catch what others miss. They will smile and use it later. There is power in being unreadable. There is danger in being the clown. Number 7, never overshare your personal life. Never overshare your personal life. Your pain, your plans, your past, these are not public offering.
A are sacred weapons or silent vulnerabilities. Most people believe that openness creates connection,
that by revealing more of themselves, they will earn trust, sympathy, and belonging. But the public is not your friend. It is a mirror with a memory, and everything you give it, it stores for later. What you reveal in trust today may be used in betrayal tomorrow. Every detail you share, the heartbreak you carry, the regrets you still hold, the ambitions you've whispered, is a page torn from your inner armor. You think you're building a bridge, but what you're really doing is handing your blueprints to people who may never build, only break. Power demands mystery. When you speak too freely, you dissolve the aura around you. You become too familiar, too common, too readable. And once the crowd understands you, they no longer fear you. They stop respecting what they can predict. Even those who nod, who smile as you speak your truth, do not mistake that for loyalty. Many will listen out of curiosity, not care. And later, they will retell your story not as an honor, but as gossip. Your openness becomes their entertainment. Your vulnerability becomes their currency. A prince speaks not from the heart in public, but from the mask. He does not show his wound, he shows his weapon, because he knows the truth. The more the world knows about your life, the less it values your power. Mystery creates authority. Familiarity breeds contempt. And every time you overshare, you give away a piece of your kingdom, one sentence at a time. Number 8B. Never show off wealth or success. Never show off wealth or success. To parade your fortune is to invite silent rebellion. To boost your status is to summon quiet assassins. Men believe that to display success is to command admiration, but admiration is fickle. What you often awaken is not praise, it is resentment. The more you flaunt what you possess, the more you remind others of what they lack. And envy does not speak, it plots. True power does not scream, it hums. It is felt, not flaunted. The prince who understands the psychology of men knows this. The moment you become the shining example of abundance, you become the glowing target. People do not attack the weak, they attack the one who has more than them and dares to show it. Even those who smile at your display may secretly resent it. Every lavish garment, every expensive watch, every public mention of wealth or achievement, it divides the room. And while some may cheer, others take note, not of your greatness, but of your arrogance. And arrogance, when perceived, is the beginning of your decline. It is far more powerful to let others suspect your success than to force them to see it. Subtlety is the art of kings. The man who walks with quiet confidence, whose wealth is implied rather than shown, commands more intrigue, more respect, because what is hidden invites curiosity. What is paraded invites judgment. The wise man keeps his power veiled. He understands that the illusion of modesty is a greater shield than any guard, because once you make others feel beneath you, they will find a way, quietly, patiently, to bring you back down. And they won't strike when you're ready. They'll strike when you're admired most. Number 9C. Never lose control of your body or voice. Never lose control of your body or voice. Because even before you speak, you are speaking. The world reads you long before it hears you. Every twitch of the eye, every slump in your posture, every stutter or fidget, these are silent signals, louder than any words you say. And once the crowd senses uncertainty in your body, they no longer believe in your authority. No matter what escapes your lips, a man who cannot command himself cannot command others. You may have the right ideas, the sharpest arguments, the most brilliant strategy, but if your hands shake when you deliver them, the crowd does not remember your logic. They remember your weakness. Your voice cracked, your shoulders dropped, you looked unsure, and power never looks unsure. Understand this: dominance begins not in action, but in presence. Your body must speak before you speak. Your walk must enter the room with more confidence than your voice. Your silence must carry weight. Those who rule understand the power of stillness. They understand the threat of composure. Because a man who is unreadable, who speaks slowly, stands tall, and never lets his energy slip, he terrifies those who rely on emotional reaction. In public, control is everything. When attacked, don't flinch. When insulted, don't react. When tested, breathe slower, not faster. The moment you let your voice rise in pitch, your breath quickens, your eyes dart, you've already given your opponent an advantage. They now know what breaks you. The body must be an extension of power, not a betrayal of it. The great leaders of history were not always the loudest, but always the calmest. And in calm, there is calculation. In stillness, there is strength. In silence, there is total control. You walk among wolves. Every glance is a judgment. Every word is a calculation. Every gesture, a test. Power is not built in grand speeches or dramatic acts. It is carved silently in the way you carry yourself when the world is watching. And the world is always watching. Most people expose themselves not through confession, but through carelessness. A misplaced laugh, a desperate compliment, an uncontrolled reaction. And in those small, seemingly harmless moments, they surrender their throne, without ever realizing they sat on one. A prince does not beg. He does not brag. He does not entertain, and he never explains. He observes. He controls. He withholds, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. What you've just learned are not rules of politeness. They are laws of survival, of dominance, of mastering perception in a world that punishes weakness, not with swords, but with silence, disrespect, and dismissal. So the next time you step into the public eye, remember your reputation is your armor, your silence is your sword, and your image is your kingdom. Defend it, or be devoured by those who never once showed you theirs.